your toy. You choose now. Hey guys, it's Bree from Califia Candle Company, and honestly I had no intentions of making any more videos just because the first one was cringy enough for me to make. So anyway, it got more views than I thought it would, and I've had a couple of people ask me to make other videos, so I figured why not. And anyway, I'm going to be showing you kind of some updates I have to my concrete jars. I'm doing a couple things differently. And then I'm also going to film a separate video of sort of the candle making process and everything that entails in that, especially because I use coconut wax. And when I was first starting this out and learning everything and looking on YouTube, there's like hardly any videos for coconut wax. I feel like it's all soy or just normal paraffin. So I feel like it'll be helpful to have some coconut wax tutorials on there too, because you do things a little bit differently than you would with soy. So anyway, enough blabbering and let's get to the video. So first and most importantly, you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself. So I do have a box of gloves here and a mask that I wear while I'm making the jars. Of course, you need your concrete of choice. I use cement all, and I actually put actually, I should say my husband put 2 55-pound bags of cement all in here in this tub, and I just have it sitting here in the kitchen because I have a very small apartment, so there's not much room to put it anywhere else, and I don't want it to be outside in case it gets wet out there. It would ruin it, so this is where it lives. So of course you need some paper towels for cleaning up. And then I have solo cups. One I put water in, the other one I'll put the concrete in. And then this is one of the changes I've made, is using distilled water. First I was using tap water, then I was using like filtered drinking water from the sink. And now I'm using distilled water, and I have noticed a difference. I was getting these like water spots on the mold. Let me see if I can find one, if I still have one to show you. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but you can see these little like spots and streaks. And I was getting that from, I think from like just the tap water. And also I was washing my molds between every use, and I don't know what it is about that, but it just makes it more shiny too. And I like more of the matte look. So I stopped washing my molds out between each use, and now I don't get this shininess anymore. So I think that if you're going for more of the matte look, like this is one of my fall jars, like this. See how there's no shininess at all? And that is just from not cleaning out my molds between each use. Maybe like if you're using really heavy colored pigment, you might need to like wipe it out with alcohol or something. But if you like this matte look, I would not recommend washing it with like soap and water, because that's what I was doing. Probably the most important thing you'll need is your mold. This one's from Amazon. I'll link it down below. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love that it's affordable and it's on Amazon, so you get, you know, that fast delivery. But it is starting to kind of wear down a little bit. I've used it quite a few times, and I've noticed a lot of my jars are starting to come out almost oval on this top part, just because these are made for resin. They're not made for concrete. It's a very thin mold, so it is not going to last a long time for something as hard as concrete. So I am kind of thinking about transitioning into the Modern Craft Labs mold, and I actually have a few that I kind of tested out yesterday. I'll show you. So I made these last night. They're still kind of drying out a little bit, so this transition between the light and the dark won't be as harsh. But I swirled some gold paint in these. So these are the 3-inch tall tulip molds from Modern Craft Labs, and I just love how these look. I think they're so cute, and it's definitely thicker, so I don't know, they just seem more luxury to me. I love how they turned out. So I think I'm going to be transitioning to those eventually. I probably need to order more molds because I only have 4. And right now I have 12 of the Amazon molds, so I'll definitely have to be making more. But yeah, I love them. I'm happy with how they turned out. So I'll keep kind of testing these out, but I think that is the end goal, to move completely over to these guys. Of course you need a paint stick. You can get this, you know, at Lowe's or Home Depot in the paint aisle. And then you don't have to use pigment. I was using acrylic paint for a while, but then I tried this Direct Colors concrete pigment and I'm obsessed. I love how it turns out. They have a bunch of different colors on their website, and I usually just add like one, I have a little plastic spoon in here, 1 scoop per jar, and it gives me kind of the shade that I want. So I used this and 2 other colors for my fall collection, and actually I can show you, I have them sitting right here, how they turned out. I think that they just look so even, and that's what I did not like about the acrylic paints. Like, I feel like you could get a different result with each jar, but with this, it's pretty fluid, so love that. Now this guy, this is a new addition to my process. And actually my sister-in-law, she was in the dental field for a little bit. She recommended this to me. She said that they would use it to get all the bubbles out of their molds. So basically you turn it on and it just vibrates, and you can adjust how much it vibrates. You can see those little pieces vibrating around on there. So I've been using that, and I think it definitely helps, so you're not sitting there bouncing the mold and tapping it forever. So I'll show you how I use this today. And I got this on the Amazon. I'll link it down below. It was like, I think $60, so a little bit pricey, but I think in the long run, worth it. Okay, I officially have my mask on, so sorry if it's harder to hear me, but I just leave this old 1 cup measuring scoop in here, and I use pretty much a full cup, almost, like right under for 1 jar. Probably like that is good, so I'll scoop that into my Solo cup. Okay, so now I have my cement all in my Solo cup. I'm going to add my 1 scoop of pigment. So just like that, dump it in there. I like to mix it in before I add the water. Just mix it into the dry concrete. Just give it a couple little swoops. And then I was kind of measuring out my water beforehand with a little measuring cup, just so I kind of had an idea of how much to use for each jar. But that also, I've noticed, fluctuates depending on what the weather is like. So now I just kind of eyeball it. So I'll just pour a little bit in, give it a mix. And then I can already tell that I'm gonna need a little bit more. So just keep adding a little bit at a time, because you can definitely overdo it easily with the water. And I just kind of keep stirring until I don't see any big lumps in there, and until it's the consistency that I would like. So that looks pretty good. So now I'll move my mold over to the vibrating machine, and I'll show you how I do that step. Okay, so now I'm going to just pour my mixture in. If you get a couple lumps in there, it's not the end of the world. You just don't want any massive chunks. I go like right under the lip, so that looks about good. And then I'll turn this on the lower side. And you do have to kind of hold it there because it wants to move around. And then I'll go up to like medium. I hope you can hear me over the vibrating. But you can actually see the bubbles kind of coming to the surface and popping out. It's really satisfying. Also, I forgot to mention on the Amazon molds, I actually cut off this bottom lip with like an X-Acto knife, because this lip on the bottom, it usually comes out to like here maybe, makes them so hard to unmold. So I cut that off on all of my molds, and they're so much easier to take out. So I definitely recommend that if you find yourself struggling to unmold them. All right, so here we have my little makeshift workspace just in the middle of my living room. I have some jars that have been sealed, some jars that need to be sealed. I keep these little Post-its here to keep track of when I unmolded them and when I should seal them. I wait 3 days before I seal them. And the reason I do that is because I wasn't doing that before. I was waiting like 24 hours to seal. And I don't think the concrete jar was dried out enough, because if you can see in this one, the sealer was starting to bubble up on me. And I'm pretty sure that's because there was still moisture stuck in the jar that was trying to come out, or the sealer not being dry enough too. So now I'm kind of extending the process and waiting a few more days between each step just to make sure everything is fully dried out. And I haven't had that issue again, so. All right, now we are to the hot topic of the century in the DIY concrete candle making community: sealers. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have tried so many sealers throughout this whole process, and this is the one that I've landed on, and I feel so good about it. I'm obsessed with this stuff. It is completely safe, non-toxic, water-based, no VOCs. It's made here in the USA. It's a woman-owned business, and she gave her approval for the use of concrete candles, which is huge, because when I first started this process, I was using polyacrylic because I saw someone else using that in a video and just assumed it was okay to use. And I emailed them and asked just to double check, and they actually said no. They said it is not recommended for the use of candle jars, and that none of their products would fit that purpose. They're not safe to use. So I immediately stopped using that one and kind of began the search, the never-ending search for a sealer. So glad that I switched to this one. It is seriously the best. Okay, so it's been about 3 to 4 hours, and it's time to unmold our jar. And another way you can tell it's ready is just by touching the side of it. And if it doesn't feel hot or warm anymore, then it's good to come out. And then also I just wanted to show you those Modern Craft Labs jars that I was talking about earlier are drying nicely. So you can really see that gold swirl coming through now. I'm kind of obsessed with how those turned out. Anyway, okay, back to this one. So the easiest way I find to do this is just kind of peeling the sides back all the way around. And then what I do is kind of grab half of it and just start pulling down, and you'll see it kind of folds down on all sides. Flip it over and start pulling this over the edge until it looks like that, and you have a good amount of it over the edge. And then just kind of start pulling, and it will all pop up like that. We'll give it a twist, and it comes right out. And that one turned out oval, as you can see. So yeah, didn't really work out too well, but at least you saw the process. And look at that color. I'm obsessed with that color. And so this one will definitely be a tester one. All right, well, that about does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a like and hit subscribe. I am going to work on getting more videos up on here, and there will be a candle making tutorial coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that. And I think that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.